continuing with my review of the D2L page for PSY 300, in Module 1, you'll have kind of the review here for what's going to happen in the first week of classes. As I indicated when we went over the syllabus, I've got a set of learning goals and tasks for this module. The first thing that I want you to do this week is complete this survey. It's called Community Attitudes About Mental Illness, and it's not so much for me to have data, because I'm not going to do anything with that data, but I want you to, by answering the questions, get a really good sense of what you believe and what your attitudes are when you're thinking about people with mental illness. Then I want you to attend class on Monday, Wednesday. As I mentioned when I went over the syllabus, I will not be on campus on Friday due to my child getting married. Trying not to freak out about that. If you happen to miss one of those 2 days of lecture, there is a video recording from the fall of 2020 of the opening day lectures that you are welcome to watch. During Module 1, you'll also need to access perusal. As I mentioned when I went over the syllabus, use this access code in order to access PSY 300. You do not need to pay for a membership or anything like that, and there's no fee for the readings that I've uploaded there. Your first module reading assignment on perusal is due August 29th by 11:59 p.m. Your final task for Module 1 is to open your email, read your email, and find the disorder that you've been assigned for the disorder card assignment. As I note here, if you have a disorder card associated with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or Girl Interrupted, be on the lookout, because you will be called upon to present in class the days after we watch those films. The last thing in Module 1, I played around with this D2L utility tool for making checklists. I don't know if it'll be useful to you or not. I mean, I have a task list. The checklist means it's the same thing as in the task list, but you can check things off. So, if you look at that and you find that it's super useful, and enough of you tell me it's super useful, I'll put them in for the remaining modules. But that's not something you need to worry about unless you just want to look at it. In Module 2, and this is the last module that I'm going to go over before I move over to talking about how perusal works, I just want to show you what the usual film-related modules are going to look like. When we shift into Module 2, we'll be looking at the first of 2 institution films, which is its own particular genre within the mental illness film grouping. So we're going to be watching the 1975 classic. This will be the oldest film we watch. The 1975 classic One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, based on the Ken Kesey novel by the same name. We will be looking at a variety of key issues associated with this film and this genre of films. The tasks for this module, in this particular week, you will be selecting your first-person narrative book. Make sure that you are reviewing that assignment sheet and paying attention to the details there. We're going to watch Cuckoo's Nest in 2 parts. We'll watch part on one day, part 1 on one day, and part 2 on the next day. And then we will have 2 days of discussion. If you have a Cuckoo's Nest disorder card, remember that you are required to present your disorder card in class. And if you do not present your disorder card in class, whether or not you turn in the essay, you get a 0 for that assignment. And the final task for that module is your Module 2 perusal reading. Now, in every module subsequent to this, it'll have the same basic layout. If there's a sub-goal for one of the major assignments like the first person narrative assignment or the film analysis essay assignment or the stigma buster assignment. That'll be noted in the module task list. But generally speaking, you'll have the film, an introduction to the film, the tasks associated with the film, a reminder about disorder cards, and so on, and a reminder about perusal reading. Now, speaking of perusal reading, when you create an account with Perusal and you enter that course code, this is what you'll see when you move into the course. Now, if you have more than one class with me, I think there are a handful of other faculty on campus who use Perusal, but I use it more heavily than most. If you have more than one class with me, you might have more than one course in your course list. But this is the course home. This is where there's a library. It has all of the items that I have uploaded for you to read over the course of the term, and then they are organized into modules. So you have articles of reading for Module 1 this week. And when you open it, what you see is the text. I don't know why it's so massively huge. It's just kind of annoying that it is that huge, but that's what happened. The way Perusal works, if I am really interested in this statement, a similar question could be posed, and I want to make a comment or ask a question about it. You highlight it, and up pops this dialog box. So once I've highlighted this statement and I want to ask a question or make a comment, maybe give my own example, I type that in there, and the Perusal system will respond to that as what they call an annotation. If you're responding to a specific person, say one of your classmates makes a statement and you want to respond to it, you can use the @ symbol just like you do on social media to refer to them directly. You can also create hashtags, and people can respond using them to create threads. You can include all kinds of other links if you want to, certainly not required. Perusal is really paying attention to the depth with which you're exploring ideas, the way in which you're stimulating conversation, the way you are engaging your classmates in conversation. Now, in the reading for each, and sometimes you'll have to wait for it to refresh itself as you're loading. There's more than one part to each module's reading, so make sure that once you get down to the end, you notice at the bottom here it will say continue assignment here. There are 2 more parts. You want to make sure that with Perusal you are spreading out your conversation across parts of the assignment. So in this second part, you can tell that there's an additional part here, and I will warn you, the Module 1 reading is a little more hefty than most of the other assignments. But regardless, the reading load in this class is really not very steep. If you compare it to some of your other college level, 300 level courses, it's really pretty minimal. So again, there are 3 elements to the Module 1 reading, and as you're reading, when you want to make a comment, you highlight a piece, and then the bubble pops up and allows you to type in your comment. So that's how Perusal works. Remember, you need to read the How Perusal Works document so that you fully understand the scoring system and how that scoring system works. Remember that if you don't spread out your comments across the reading for a given module, it will not give you as high a score as it would if you did so. If you respond to someone else's comment by saying, I agree with you, you're going to get a low score. If you respond to a piece of text by simply repeating what the text says, you're going to get a low score. So what perusal is really looking for is the depth of your engagement, your involvement in the text, and your ability to really be in communication with your classmates and with your instructor as you're using the material. So kind of think about it this way. Sometimes students look at perusal and they say, I just have to figure out the heuristic and jump through the hoops. I'm not giving you exams, and I'm not giving you quizzes over reading material as I would in most of my 200 level classes. I'm expecting you at this level of college work to engage with reading in order to learn. So rather than testing your rote memorization of facts and figures, instead I want to listen to you talking to each other in your reading. That way, when you come to class, you can talk in a more sophisticated way about the films that we're watching in this class. Okay, so that's my overview. I know this part of the welcome video is much shorter than part one. I ran into a little bit of a technical problem as I was prepping my video. My internet went down in the house, so I had to add on this second part. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if there are things that don't make sense in this video, make sure that you ask in class, or stop by during office hours, or get on my bookings page and make an appointment. I look forward to working with you this semester.